Hello together! This tutorial shows the final repair of a headlight flasher switch of a BMW F650 GS Dakar from 2003. Flasher switch trouble seems to be common on the F650 series and, in Germany at least, your technical license to operate the motorcycle will be suspended if the biennial technical check is failed, which we call TÜV, and a bad headlight flasher switch is a sure fail. I have found another video on YouTube which shows a hot fix for this problem. I will link the video in the caption to this video. Please also refer to that video for further information on how to remove the switch from the handlebar. However, this video tutorial shows how to repair the switch, restoring it to its original state. Please follow this video at your own risk, and now, good luck with the repair. The problem. The high beam flasher does not work. You can pull the switch to max, but the light stays in low beam mode. Referring to the electrical schematics of BMW, power goes from the switch directly to the lamp. No relay in between. Therefore, the problem may be a bad lamp, a bad switch, or a bad cable connection. We can change the lamp. If the failure persists, cable and switch are left as reason for the failure. To check for the bad switch, open the left-hand switch console, called Combi Switch Left Hand by BMW, and measure between the two switch contacts using a multimeter in continuity mode. Now activate the switch, and the multimeter should show continuity. If not, switch on the ignition and short-circuit the two contacts of the switch. The headlamp should now show the flasher function, and we can rule out a bad cable connection. So, we have the switch confirmed bad, and now we need to remove it for repair. Unfortunately, the single switch cannot be obtained as a spare, and the complete Combi Switch Left Hand is no longer procurable. And even when it was available, the price was about 180 euro. Oof! While researching repair options, I found an entry in a German forum, where one user advised not to disassemble the Combi Switch because it would be impossible to get it reassembled. Ever. Headlight switch voodoo. That would be the day. Removal. So let's go. Remove the mirror. It's heavy and always in the way. Remove the screws 09 from the Combi Switch 07. Then remove the screws 10 from the body 08. To remove the screws securing the grip, lift the rubber of the grip on the inner side. Underneath you will find the two screws. You will have one of two versions of the motorcycle, with or without heated handle grips. If you do not have heated grips, remove the rubber grip by sliding it off the handlebar. If you have heated grips, the grip cannot be removed yet because the wire is too short. The wires for the heater enter the handlebar here in the center of the handlebar. Follow these wires to the right and open the first two cable ties of the loom. You will gain about 20 cm of wire. To push the free wire into the handlebar must be removed. Move the handlebar towards the free wire and push it in. Secure the handlebar in that position. Now you can pull out the free wire on the grip side and finally slide off the grip. You can also pull the Combi Switch housing to the outside now. Turn the housing until you gain access to the solder points of the switch and desolder them. Then remove the Combi Switch housing. Only now you can gain access to the screw that holds the switch in its housing. Remove the switch and we're good to go for repair now. Repair. There is a small metal ball, spring-loaded, which defines the resting position of the switch lever. See here. Switch housing and lever are only clipsed. To open the switch, put 2 small screwdrivers here and crank open. Watch the metal ball and the spring. Also, the switch has a spring located between the 2 contacts which pushes the switch to normally open position. Remove the spring and swing the switch open. And there the misery is revealed. One of the contacts has been pushed into the plastic material of the lever part of the switch. Why? In contrast to the high beam switch, which switches alternating between high and low beam, the flasher switches high beam additionally to low beam. This gives a way better light than high beam or low beam alone. As there is no relay taking the load off the switch, about 6 amps of current flow through the contacts, heating them up. Using the flasher long enough, the lever-sided contact is melting into the lever material, and due to the spring load of the contacts, the melting motion continues for as long as the contacts are hot enough, even if the switch is released. Has the contact been pushed out of position far enough, then the lever travel distance is no longer sufficient to close the contacts. The hotfix video mentioned before shows how to remove some material from the lever, thus giving the lever a little more travel space and the switch may close again. This weakens the lever, however. This problem could be solved by using a relay taking the load off the switch. This, however, was not implemented by BMW, and it is not available as an upgrade kit. Maybe a topic for a follow-up video though. On the other hand, the flasher is designed as a flasher and not as a full-time light enhancer. You can remove the switch lever from the housing at the hinge. Here we can see the plastic material pushed away by the hot contact, about 2 mm away from its normal position. Remove the metal contact. I also removed the molten plastic, however, as it enhances the surface area for the glue, you might want to leave it in place. Here you can see the original position of the contact and the gap we have to bridge. As glue, I suggest 2-component epoxy. You can also use superglue and filler powder. Please refer to YouTube for more information about superglue and filler. I used 2-component epoxy for this repair. Mind the gap. To me the gap seemed too big to bridge the distance with epoxy alone, so I looked for some packers. From my RC modeling days, I had some washers for 2 mm screws. These are a perfect fit for the job. If you have no material like the washers, use epoxy glue alone. Use alcohol to clean the surfaces of the switch. Then prepare the epoxy and then apply glue, washer, glue, and the contact. Remove excess glue with a cotton swab as long as the glue is still soft, and let the epoxy cure. Next day, reassemble the switch in reverse order. Reattach the lever to the housing on the hinge side. Reposition the spring between the contacts. Refit the metal ball and its spring in the lever cavity, preload, then close the switch. The metal ball shall reset in the housing and the switch should now be normally open. Test the switch as before with a multimeter. Now the switch can be reattached to its cables on the bike. But remember, this switch does not like heat, so keep the time on soldering the cables to the contacts to a minimum. Then reattach the combi switch to the handlebar and torque the handlebar bolts with 21 Nm or 15.5 foot-pound. Conclusion. We need to rethink our usage of the flasher. We mustn't use the flasher as a long-duration light enhancer, but only for short light flashes as intended by the manufacturer BMW. If we keep on using the flasher long time, we may damage the switch beyond repair. My switch was restored and my bike passed the technical inspection. And the inspector really did test the flasher function. and the bike got 2 years without parole.